My sister lied, saying I destroyed her marriage. My entire family boycotted my wedding for 3 years. But when I got pregnant, and they wanted her to be my baby's second mother, I exposed the truth on Facebook. She baby-trapped her husband and left them all speechless. I'm 27 years old. I'm 5 months pregnant, and what happened 3 years ago at my wedding basically destroyed my relationship with my family. With my parents and my sister Amanda. And now, after 3 years of not talking to me, turns out they want back in my life because I'm expecting a baby. And they have this brilliant idea that my sister, the same one who ruined my wedding, should be like a second mother to my child. Can you believe it? I guess I should start from the beginning, so you understand why this has me so angry, and why I basically told them to go to hell. Amanda was always my parents' favorite. Always. She's 30 years old, 3 years older than me, and since we were kids, everything revolved around her. If Amanda wanted something, Amanda got it. If I needed something, well, I had to wait because Amanda was more important. I don't know if it was because she was the first daughter or what, but the reality is I grew up feeling invisible in my own home. My achievements were never enough. My needs were never a priority. And I basically learned from a very young age that in my family, I was the second choice. Always. When Amanda got married at 26, it was the event of the century. My parents spent a fortune on that wedding, like it was at this super elegant venue, expensive dress, honeymoon in Europe, everything. I was like 23 at the time, and I was starting my relationship with Ryan, my now husband. I remember thinking, well, when it's my turn, it'll probably be more modest because they already spent everything on Amanda. But that's okay. I get it. What I didn't understand was the difference in treatment, you know? It wasn't just the money. It was the attention, the enthusiasm, the way my parents talked about Amanda's wedding like it was the most important thing that had ever happened in their lives. Anyway, Amanda was married for like 3.5 years or so, and from the outside, everything seemed perfect. Her husband was a good guy, worked in finance, made good money, and they seemed happy. But like 4 years ago, out of nowhere, he asked her for a divorce. Amanda showed up at my parents' house crying, saying her marriage was over and her husband didn't love her anymore. My parents obviously consoled her, supported her, and basically all the family attention centered on Amanda's drama and her divorce. Right during that same period, Ryan and I had decided to get married. We'd been together for like 3 years, we were living together, and we felt it was the right time. I was excited, honestly, because I was finally going to have my moment, my special day. Ryan is incredible. He supports me in everything, and his family is so different from mine. Like they treat me as if I actually matter. They listen to me, they're interested in what I do. When we told his parents we were getting married, they were super happy and told me they were excited that I would officially be part of their family. When I told my parents that Ryan had proposed to me, I expected them to be happy, to hug me, to say something nice. But their first reaction was literally to ask when we were planning to get married. I told them we were thinking of doing it in about 8 months, to have time to plan everything well, but not wait years either. And that's when everything started. My mom looked at me very seriously and told me we needed to talk. I sat down thinking it was going to be about the budget or about helping me plan. But no. She told me that Amanda was going through a very difficult time with her divorce, that she was very sensitive, and that it would be better if I postponed my wedding until Amanda was emotionally better. Like, what? I told her no, that we'd been planning this for months, that we already had a date in mind, and that Amanda's divorce had nothing to do with my wedding. My dad jumped into the conversation and basically told me I was being selfish. That how could I think about celebrating while my sister was suffering? I tried to reason with them. I told them I understood Amanda was having a hard time, but that my life couldn't stop because of that. That I also deserved to have my special moment. That it wasn't fair that I always had to put my things second because of Amanda. But no, according to them, I was being insensitive and cruel. We had a horrible argument, like me crying, telling them they had never treated me the same as Amanda, and them denying everything and telling me I was just being dramatic. In the end, I told them I was going to go ahead with my wedding plans with or without their support. Ryan backed me up completely, and honestly, that's what gave me the strength to stand firm. His parents were also incredible. They told me not to worry, that they would help us with whatever we needed and that my wedding was going to be beautiful. We decided to do something more intimate anyway. We didn't have the giant budget that Amanda and her ex had, but I didn't care. I just wanted to marry Ryan surrounded by people who really loved us. Things with my parents were tense after that conversation, but I continued with the plans. I sent out the invitations like 2 months before the wedding, including to my parents, Amanda, and several aunts, uncles, and extended family. I expected that even though my parents were upset, they would still come. It was my wedding. For God's sake, I'm their daughter too. But then Amanda started to make her master move. A few weeks after I sent the invitations, I started getting weird messages from some relatives. My aunt wrote me saying she was disappointed in me, that how could I be so manipulative? My cousin sent me a super cold message saying he probably wouldn't attend the wedding. At first, I didn't understand what was happening. But then one of my closest cousins, who had always been honest with me, called me and told me. Turns out Amanda had been calling the whole family, telling them a completely false version of what had happened in her divorce. She told them that I had manipulated her ex-husband into leaving her, that I had put ideas in his head about not having children because Ryan and I didn't want to be parents, and that this had caused problems in their marriage, and that I had basically destroyed her relationship because I was jealous that she was happy. And then, according to Amanda, I had planned my wedding quickly to rub it in her face that I was happy while she was suffering. It was all lies. Absolutely everything. I barely spoke to Amanda's ex when they were married. Like, we'd see each other at family gatherings, and that was it. It was a casual greeting and nothing more. I never had any deep conversation with him about children or anything personal. And the thing about Ryan and me not wanting kids was also false. We had never said that. It just wasn't a priority at that moment because we were building our careers. But we didn't rule out having children in the future. But Amanda had built this complete narrative where I was the villain who had ruined her life. I tried to talk to my parents, tell them that everything Amanda was saying was a lie, but they believed her. My mom told me Amanda had no reason to lie, that she was very hurt, and that maybe I didn't realize the damage I had caused. Like, seriously? I told them to talk to Ryan, that he could confirm we never had those conversations with Amanda's ex, but they didn't even want to listen to him. For them, Amanda was the victim and I was the terrible sister who had ruined her marriage and was now getting married to humiliate her. The weeks before my wedding were a nightmare. Most of my family declined the invitation. Some didn't even respond. They just ignored me. Others sent me messages saying they couldn't support what I was doing. My parents confirmed they wouldn't go, and Amanda obviously wouldn't either. From my side of the family, only like 3 cousins who knew me well and knew Amanda was lying attended, and a couple of uncles who said they didn't want to get into family drama but that they loved me and wanted to be there for me. I cried a lot during those weeks. I'm not going to lie. It was devastating to see how my family turned their backs on me based on lies. Ryan held me every time I broke down, reminded me that we were going to have a beautiful wedding, surrounded by the people who really loved us. His parents were incredible. His mom even helped me choose flowers and plan some details that I was too stressed to handle. Our friends also poured out their support. Many offered to help with whatever we needed. The wedding was small but beautiful. We had like 40 people, mostly our friends and Ryan's family. From my side were those few relatives who decided to go and some childhood friends. It was weird walking down the aisle without my dad. I'm not going to lie. That hurt. Ryan's dad offered to walk me down, but I told him I preferred to walk alone. Like I wanted to prove to myself that I could do this without my family. When I got to the altar and saw Ryan waiting for me with that smile, all the pain felt a little less heavy. We got married, we danced, we celebrated, and it was genuinely one of the happiest days of my life despite everything. After the wedding, I decided to cut contact with my parents and Amanda. It wasn't an easy decision, but I needed to do it for my mental health. I blocked their numbers, deleted them from social media, and basically moved on with my life. Ryan and I moved to a new apartment, focused on our careers, traveled, built our life together. Some relatives would contact me from time to time asking if I didn't want to reconcile with my parents, but I always said no until they admitted that Amanda had lied and genuinely asked me for forgiveness. That never happened. 3 years went by like that. 3 years without talking to them. 3 years in which I was honestly very happy. Life without the constant drama of Amanda and without feeling like my parents' second choice was liberating. Ryan and I decided it was a good time to start trying for a baby, and after a few months, I got pregnant. We were super excited. His parents cried with happiness when we told them, and basically his whole family went into excited grandparents, aunts, uncles mode. When I was like 4 months pregnant, I decided to announce it on social media. I posted a cute photo with Ryan where you could see my baby bump and a simple text saying we were expecting our first baby. The comments were beautiful. Friends congratulating us, Ryan's family excited, former coworkers and people I hadn't seen in years sending good wishes. I was reading the comments when I saw I had a direct message from my mom. My first instinct was to delete it without reading, but curiosity got the better of me. I opened the message and it was long, like several paragraphs. Basically, it said they had found out about my pregnancy from the post because obviously I hadn't told them, that they were very happy for me, that the news of a baby in the family was something wonderful, and that they believed this was the perfect time to reconcile. That 3 years had passed and it was time to leave the past behind and be a family again. Up to there, the message didn't sound so bad, let's say. But then came the real reason why they wanted to reconcile. My mom wrote that Amanda was also very excited about the baby news, and that they had been talking about how nice it would be if Amanda could be like a second mother to my child, that she had always wanted to be a mom, that the divorce had taken away that opportunity, and that maybe this was the universe's way of giving her a second chance through my baby. I read that message like 3 times because I couldn't believe what I was reading. Did they really think that after 3 years of silence, after missing my wedding, after believing all of Amanda's lies, they were going to come back into my life and put Amanda as a second mother to my child? Were they completely crazy? I didn't respond immediately because I was too angry and didn't want to say something I'd regret. I talked to Ryan that night, and he was just as outraged as I was. He told me it was my decision how to handle this, but that he supported me in whatever I decided. I also talked to his parents, and they said the same thing, that they would respect whatever decision I made, but that I had no obligation to let those people back into my life, much less near my baby. After thinking about it for a couple of days, I decided to respond. I wrote them a very clear message, telling them I wasn't interested in reconciling, that they had made their decision 3 years ago when they believed Amanda's lies and didn't come to my wedding, and that I had made mine to move forward without them. And as for Amanda being a second mother to my baby, I told them that was never going to happen. That Amanda couldn't be near my child because, honestly, someone who lies and manipulates like she did isn't the kind of person I want near my family. And here's where I probably crossed the line. I don't know, but I was so angry I didn't care. I told them verbatim that maybe the reason Amanda hadn't been able to have children with her ex-husband was because the universe knew she wasn't going to be a good mother. That not everyone is made to be a parent, and that clearly Amanda was one of those people. I sent the message and blocked them again. I didn't want to see their response. I didn't want to get into an argument. I just wanted it to be clear that there was no possibility of reconciliation under those terms. But the next day, I started receiving messages from other relatives. My aunt wrote me saying I had been very cruel, that how could I say something like that to Amanda, knowing how much she suffered from not being able to have children. My cousin sent me a long message telling me he understood I was upset but that I had crossed a line, that attacking someone's infertility was unacceptable. Wait, infertility? That was the first time I heard anything about Amanda being infertile. In my mind, Amanda simply hadn't had children with her ex because they got divorced, period. No one had ever told me she had fertility problems. But apparently that was the new narrative my parents and Amanda were using to justify why she wanted to be near my baby. I kept receiving messages from relatives, basically demanding I apologize to Amanda, that what I had said to her was unforgivable, that I was being vindictive and cruel, that pregnancy had my hormones altered but that I needed to ask for forgiveness. They had me fed up. Honestly, none of them had defended me 3 years ago when Amanda lied about me, but now they all came out to defend her because I had said an uncomfortable truth. Like 2 weeks after all that drama, I was at a restaurant having lunch with a friend when I saw Amanda's ex-husband walk in. We recognized each other because we had seen each other several times at family gatherings before their divorce. He approached our table, greeted me, congratulated me on the pregnancy. Apparently, he had found out through a mutual acquaintance, and we chatted for a few minutes about casual things. Just as he was about to leave, I told him I could ask him something personal. He looked at me kind of hesitant but said yes. I asked him directly if it was true that Amanda couldn't have children due to infertility problems, because that's what my whole family was saying. He was quiet for a moment and then told me, "Can we sit down for a moment?" My friend caught the hint and said she was going to go to the bathroom, leaving us to talk. What he told me that day changed everything. Turns out the reason he asked for a divorce had nothing to do with me or any supposed influence from me. The truth was that Amanda had been trying to get pregnant without telling him. They had agreed when they got married that they didn't want children yet, that they wanted to wait a few years, build their careers, save money, travel, all those things young couples want to do before having babies. He trusted that Amanda was taking birth control as they had agreed. But one day, he accidentally found Amanda's birth control pills hidden in a drawer, unused, like 3 complete packs unopened. When he confronted her, she denied it at first, but eventually admitted she had stopped taking the pills months ago because she wanted to get pregnant. She told him that once she was pregnant, he would get excited and they would be happy. Basically, she tried to force a pregnancy without his consent, like a complete baby trap. He told me that was a massive betrayal for him, that the issue wasn't that he never wanted children, but that he wanted to make the decision together when they were both ready. But Amanda had made that decision unilaterally and had lied to him for months, that it completely destroyed the trust he had in her. He asked for a divorce shortly after discovering that, and told me he had never spoken publicly about the real reason because he didn't want to humiliate Amanda. He just wanted to end the marriage and move on. As for the supposed infertility, he told me that as far as he knew, Amanda had never had problems getting pregnant. In fact, she had told him during their argument that she was sure she was going to get pregnant quickly once she stopped the pills. Amanda's ex told me that if she was now saying she was infertile, it was probably another lie to gain sympathy. Or maybe she had developed problems after the divorce, but that during their marriage there was never any indication of that. I asked him if he would be willing for me to tell this truth if necessary. He looked at me kind of thoughtful and told me yes, that he was tired of Amanda continuing to manipulate people with lies, that if I needed to defend my name and tell the truth, he gave me permission to say what he had told me, and I even said that if anyone didn't believe me, I could give them his contact, so he could confirm it directly. I left that lunch with my friend feeling a mix of things. On one hand, I was furious because it confirmed everything I had suspected, that Amanda was a liar and manipulator who had built false narratives to victimize herself. On the other hand, I felt like vindicated. Because I finally had proof that I hadn't done anything wrong, that Amanda's accusations 3 years ago were completely made up. Like 2 more weeks passed, and the situation escalated again. My parents and Amanda made posts on Facebook playing victims. My mom posted something about how it hurts when your children reject you and don't allow you to be part of important moments in their lives, with several comments from people giving her encouragement and saying, "What a shame that I was so resentful." Amanda posted something even more manipulative about how there are people who use motherhood as a weapon to hurt others, and that she just wanted love and family, but some people prefer resentment. Several relatives shared those posts, some commenting things that indirectly attacked me without mentioning me by name. Things like, "How sad when people can't forgive," or "Family is the most important thing and some don't value it." It was clear they were trying to turn more family against me, to paint me as the bad guy in the story again. Ryan found me crying that night reading those posts. He asked me what was wrong, and I showed him everything. He was furious. He told me that was enough, that Amanda and my parents had had 3 years to leave me alone, but they kept trying to make me look bad. He asked me what I wanted to do. If I wanted him to talk to them? If I wanted us to ignore it? What? And that's when I decided it was time to tell the whole truth. I told him I was going to make a post telling exactly why Amanda got divorced, with the permission of her ex that he had already given me, Ryan. I asked me if I was sure, because once I put that on the internet, there was no going back. I told him yes, that I was sick of being the villain in a story where I was the victim. That night, I wrote a long post on Facebook. I explained everything from the beginning, how Amanda had lied about me 3 years ago, saying I had manipulated her husband and destroyed her marriage, how my parents had believed her without even hearing my version, how most of my family didn't come to my wedding because of those lies. And then, with the explicit permission of her ex-husband, I told the truth about her divorce, that Amanda had tried to force a pregnancy without consent by secretly stopping birth control, basically trying to baby trap her husband, and that when he discovered her, he asked for a divorce because that betrayal destroyed his trust. I mentioned in the post that I had permission from Amanda's ex-husband to tell this, and that anyone who doubted it could verify it directly with him. I also clarified that Amanda had never been diagnosed with infertility during her marriage, and that if she was now using that as a narrative to victimize herself, it was another of her lies or a condition she developed later, but it wasn't the reason for her divorce. I ended the post saying I had kept silent for 3 years, that I had tried to simply move on with my life without causing more drama, but that I was tired of Amanda and my parents continuing to manipulate the family with lies. That my baby was going to grow up surrounded by honest people who genuinely cared for us, not people who only sought us out when it was convenient for them. I hit the publish button and honestly felt like a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. Within minutes, the comments and reactions started coming in. Some relatives who had always been on my side commented supporting me, saying the truth was finally being clarified. Others, who had believed Amanda's lies, started commenting surprised, asking if that was true. A couple of people sent me private messages apologizing for not coming to my wedding and saying that if they had known the truth at that time, they would have been there. The drama that unfolded was incredible. My aunt, the one who had previously attacked me for what I said to Amanda, now commented on my post, saying she was in shock, that she couldn't believe Amanda had done something like that. Several cousins who had shared my parents' victim posts now commented on my post saying they needed the truth. Some even went to my mom and Amanda's posts and commented asking them if what I had said was true. My parents and Amanda didn't respond publicly. They didn't comment on my post. They didn't make any new posts. They just stayed quiet. I think they realized they had finally been exposed and that this time they couldn't manipulate the narrative in their favor because I had real proof and Amanda's ex's testimony backing me up. Like, on the third day after my post, I received a message from my mom. I had her blocked, but apparently she created a new profile just to contact me. The message said we needed to talk, that things had gotten out of control, and that they were willing to apologize if I deleted the post. That the whole family was asking uncomfortable questions and this was affecting Amanda emotionally. I responded telling them that their apology meant nothing if it came with conditions. That if they were really sorry, the first thing they had to do was publicly admit that Amanda lied about me 3 years ago, that I never had anything to do with her divorce, and that they were wrong to believe her without listening to my side. That after that we could maybe talk about a genuine apology, but that I wasn't going to delete my post just so they could continue lying. My mom responded saying I was being unreasonable, that Amanda was very bad emotionally, and that my post had humiliated her in front of the whole family. I told her, well, welcome to how I felt 3 years ago when the whole family turned their backs on me because of her lies. That if Amanda was bad, it was a consequence of her own actions, not my responsibility. And then I blocked them again. From that new profile too. Ryan was proud of me for standing firm. His parents also told me I had done the right thing by defending myself. Some friends asked me if I didn't feel bad about exposing Amanda publicly like that, and honestly, I don't. Should I feel bad? Maybe. I don't know. But after 3 years of being the villain in her false story, after they ruined my wedding with lies, after they tried to come back into my life just because they wanted to use my baby to make Amanda feel better, the truth is I don't feel even a bit of guilt. Like 2 more weeks passed, and the post kept generating conversations. Some relatives who had previously been on Amanda's side now contacted me, wanting to reconcile with me. Honestly, I don't know what to do with that yet. Part of me wants to tell them to go away too, that where were they 3 years ago when I needed them? But another part understands that they were manipulated by Amanda, just like my parents, and that at least now that they know the truth, they're trying to make things right. Eventually, I decided to delete the post, but not because my parents or Amanda asked me to, but because it had already served its purpose. The truth had come out. The people who needed to know now knew, and I didn't want my pregnancy and this stage of my life to continue being stained by all that drama. I wanted to focus on positive things, on preparing for my baby's arrival, on enjoying these months with Ryan and the people who really support us. Now I'm almost 6 months along. My baby is healthy, and I'm surrounded by the love of my husband and his parents, who already bought like 1,000 things for their future grandchild. Some of my relatives who had previously turned their backs on me have tried to reach out, and with some I've started to slowly rebuild a relationship, seeing how it goes. And with others, I've simply decided it's not worth it, that 3 years is a long time, and some relationships don't deserve to be saved. My parents and Amanda still haven't contacted me, and honestly, I don't miss them. Ryan asked me a few days ago if I thought I could ever forgive them, and I told him, honestly, I don't know. Maybe someday, if they ever show signs of real change, of a genuine apology without conditions, without manipulation. But for now, I'm fine without them in my life. My baby is going to grow up knowing who the people are who really love and support us, and those people don't include folks who lie and manipulate to get their way. Did I do the right thing by telling the truth publicly? Did I go too far? I don't know, honestly. But what I do know is that I finally stood up for myself after years of being trampled on, and that has to count for something, right?